what happened is inexcusable.
I think it got to Mercedes.
Max lost some points that he shouldn't have lost.
It started to affect their psyche.
How often do you think about it? Obviously, we've just spoken about the fact that your own experiences give you an emotional intelligence and empathy and understanding for others. Did you not have that for Michael Masi? Did you not put yourself in his position and think, okay, that's a hard place to be. I might have done the same. Or
I really tried to speak to Michael and guide him all along the year and speak to him and say, listen, I've been in the sport for a long time. Listen to the drivers. Don't always be stubborn in your decision making. Don't be arrogant. And I tried that for the good of the sport and obviously also for us as a team, not to be vulnerable to situations that could be totally detrimental. So in that sense, this is just, what happened is inexcusable. Now you could say, yeah, the empathy should make me realize how he feels. I realize how he feels. Mm-hmm. And I know that's not good and bad. But he could have thought about it all year long when people, not only me, tried to support in the right way. So sometimes you have to just realize that someone is just doing his own thing or taking his own decisions. So for me, I don't care about it anymore. Yeah. Now you and I speak about it. We waste 3 minutes of our time, but he has no relevance.
So we're nearly 3 years on from that day. How often do you think about it?
For sure, every week.
Yeah.
There's a moment every week where I think about it. But I mainly think about it because I think Lewis should have deserved to be the greatest of all times with 8 world championship titles. And you can argue all along about that year. I think Max and Lewis were deserving champions. There were instances during the year where Max lost some points that he shouldn't have lost. You look at Silverstone today. You look at the crash in Monza, both of them had. So both deserving champions. But on that particular afternoon in Abu Dhabi, it was unfair.
Yeah. You obviously have the car in your reception. I wondered when I came in, I saw that and immediately knew this is the car that raced. It's the very car, isn't it, from the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix? You don't feel tempted to get that car out of reception and put something else in there?
It's a special car because it's also a car that turned the situation around after Brazil, where we thought the championship is gone. It was a very good car after the summer. And it is a car that reminds all of us that things could go wrong very quickly, but things could be right also very quickly. It's basically how life goes. And that car is a stark reminder of all the joy and all the pain a situation can bring with it.
I'd like to talk about the impact on Lewis, because in the book, Bono, his race engineer, says after the British Grand Prix, which Lewis won this season, he said it was 945 days since Lewis's last win. As time passed, the doubt crept in for Lewis as much as me. In our minds, we started to ask if we were still capable. How aware were you that Lewis was struggling after that race in 2021?
Lewis and I speak a lot, we text a lot all along. And I knew that he was in an okay place because he immediately left, spent some time in the Caribbean after that race and, was doing his sports and kite surfing.
So you said you knew a few days later he was okay. What happened a few days after that when you thought, actually, Lewis is okay here?
He went to some friends' place in the Caribbean and they told me he's okay. And he took his distance. So I was also proud because he's come a long way to cope with difficult moments that he had in the past, and that we had. There were times where he, I was helping him to overcome such situations, and the same way the other way around. It's also what made our relationship so strong that we've seen each other on the worst moments. So I knew he was better.
Look, we all know the struggle of deciding what to eat, but what if I told you that Huel can make that decision easier? Their taster bundle has got 8 ready-to-drink bottles, including their black edition, which has got 35 grams of protein, 6 daily A to Z vitamins, 8 complete nutrition bars, 2 hot savoury pots, and a free Huel t-shirt. All you have to do is click the link in the description to unlock your offer now at huel.com/highperformance. Can I ask how you feel Max internally dealt with what happened at the end of the 2021 season? Because it still feels to me like Red Bull are blamed for something that was totally not in your control. You know, this was an FIA race director decision that I kind of reflects badly on Red Bull in an unfair way, you know?
I think, honestly, Max is so, he has such a self-assured, so self-assured, and this is in a positive way, it's not in a negative way. You know, there's arrogance and there's self-assured. And Max is he's not arrogant, but he is very self-assured and self-confident. And he's a deep thinker, but he doesn't let things like that, I don't think they don't really get to him. He's able to shut that off and just get on with his job and get on with his task and do what he loves doing, which is driving racing cars.
Did it get to you?
No, it didn't. I mean, I find it actually, I think it got to Mercedes, and instead of saying, okay, well, accepting it and moving on, it started to affect their psyche, which is an interesting one. That's from the outside, and I might be completely wrong.
In what way?
They couldn't let it go. Psychologically, they couldn't let it go. And you have to be, you know, we all have a bad race, perhaps should have won and the bloody thing broke down on the last lap or whatever. And I always have a personal rule, if you like, that I will be horrible to be around in the airport in that Sunday evening. But come Monday morning, I've got to wake up and be back on it. I can't go back into the factory all miserable and downbeat. Part of my position, I suppose, is to try to hopefully motivate everybody, not just saying, oh, it's so unfair and we were robbed and all that. Doesn't help, does it?
How much time do you spend reflecting?
Almost none.
Why is that?
I suppose because I'm interested in the next thing, really.
You once wrote, you might say I'm lacking sentimentality, but I prefer to think of it as taking a clear-eyed view of the future.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's easy, you know. Okay, so it's great when people come up and say, I've won so many races and championships and whatever. And I suppose the book, to extent, How to Build a Car, was quite a cathartic trip back, which I'd never really done until I wrote that book. I wrote it with the ghostwriter, in truth, Andrew. But generally speaking, I'm not looking back, I'm looking forwards. And I don't know why that is. It's just, I suppose it's just the curiosity aspect of, okay, what's next?